The most powerful weapon you will ever wield is not forged in steel, but in solitude. The path to mastery over the world begins and ends with mastery over yourself. To walk alone is not a choice, but a destiny, for those who dare to seek true power. Dependence is a shackle, every link formed by the fear of standing alone. You lean on others as crutches, afraid of the fall, but the fall is where resilience is born. Strength rises from the ashes of your own struggle, untainted by the fragility of borrowed support. No one lasts forever but you. Those you trust are fleeting shadows, fading as soon as the light changes. To rely on them is to place your fate in the hands of something breakable, to bend to the whims of their strength or their weakness. True power lies in becoming your own foundation, unshaken by loss, untouched by betrayal. The world owes you nothing. It will watch you crumble, offer no reprieve, and even relish in your failure. Yet, from that crucible of despair, you can forge an unbreakable will. Those who lean on others remain vulnerable, forever chained to another's fragility. But the one who depends only on themselves becomes untouchable. Self-reliance isn't a shield to hide behind. It's a weapon sharp enough to carve your path through the chaos. It's not just surviving, it's seizing control of your destiny with a relentless grip. When you shed the need for others, you strip the world of its power over you. You begin to see the truth. Life is a battlefield. The weak clustered together, hoping safety lies in numbers. But those bonds are mere illusions. They don't protect, they ensnare. Trust becomes the knife that is one day turned against you. When you trust no one can harm you. And you depend on no one, you become a force no betrayal can weaken. True strength is cultivated in solitude, in the quiet moments when no one comes to save you. It is there that you shape yourself into something unstoppable. To master self-reliance is to master freedom. You are no longer held back by the weight of others, their doubts, their fears, their failures. They become irrelevant. You move with purpose, with precision, and with a confidence that no external force can shake. Hesitation is the luxury of those who rely on others. Doubt grows when your strength is borrowed, but when the only strength you know is your own, there is no hesitation, only action. You become unstoppable, untethered, limitless. This is the essence of self-reliance, an untouchable power that stands unyielding no matter the storm. The battles that matter are always fought alone, for no one can truly stand in your place. Aid from others is fleeting at best, but the strength you build yourself is eternal. Others live on borrowed fire, flames snuffed out by the first gust of failure, but the self-reliant carry an inferno within, a blaze that cannot be extinguished because it is fueled by their own unbreakable will. Fear loses its hold on those who walk alone. Oh, fear thrives on the unknown, on the uncertainty that comes from placing your fate in someone else's hands. When you depend only on yourselves, you know exactly where you stand. There is no room for fear in the presence of absolute self-assurance. The path to self-reliance is not an easy one. It is lined with challenges that test the very core of who you are. but it is the only path that leads to unshakable strength. Those who choose this path become untouchable, immune to the betrayals and failures that topple others. The world cannot break what it cannot touch. When you master self-reliance, you become more than just strong. You become untouchable, a force that endures when all else crumbles. In the silence of solitude, you find clarity. In the solitude of your own strength, you discover freedom. No one can take from you what you've built yourself. No one can match the power of a self-reliant resolute. To walk alone is not to be weak. It is to embrace the ultimate strength. As the world falters and falls, you will rise above it, unyielding and unstoppable. Bet on yourself. The rest is just a gamble you're destined to lose. While others anchor themselves to fleeting alliances, you will soar, untethered by their limitations. You will walk through the darkness where others dare not tread, unburdened by the chains of reliance. The world will bend, not because it fears you, but because it cannot break you. This is the path of self-reliance, to rise above, to remain when all else falls, and to become the unyielding master of your own fate. Every gamble placed on someone else edges you closer to disaster. Those who pin their hopes on others fail to see the cracks in their foundations. Betrayal doesn't always come from malice. It often comes from weakness. The collapse of trust lies in the hands of those too fragile to carry the weight of your ambition. When everything you've built hangs in the balance, everything you've built hangs in the balance. There is only one choice that guarantees survival. The choice to rely on yourself. In that choice, there are no unknowns, no fragile bonds, no unreliable pillars. There is only you, your will honed by isolation and your strength hardened in the crucible of solitude. Others may offer reassurances, promises of loyalty, of endurance, of unwavering support. But promises are fragile. They crack under pressure, crumble under fear, and dissolve in hesitation. The self, however, is unchanging. It is the one constant, the single force over which you hold complete control. To place your faith in yourself is not blind hope. It is a calculated certainty. It is staking everything on the one force that has never faltered. Your own resilience, your own determination. There are no illusions when you trust yourself. No false comforts or deceptive whispers will cloud your vision. Only the sharp, unrelenting truth remains, that what lies within you is enough. The world is fickle, and those who gamble on others are nothing more than wishful thinkers, clinging to the hope that someone else will catch them when they fall. When you rely on yourself, the risks that haunt others become meaningless. The variables fade, the unknowns vanish, and only the certainty of your own ability remains. To bet on yourself is to ensure that no matter what lies ahead, you will endure. The alliances others treasure will fracture. The friendships they rely on will fade. The loyalties they cherish will bend and snap under the strain of fear. But you, the one who places faith in no one but yourself, will remain unbroken. Every weakness in another becomes a threat to your foundation. Every flaw becomes a potential downfall. To depend on others is to invite vulnerability, to anchor yourself to something that cannot withstand the storm. Betting on yourself means shedding those vulnerabilities, stepping away from the fragility of those who falter in the darkness. It is embracing the abyss, knowing that no matter how deep it seems, you will rise again. Your strength is forged not in the absence of fear, but in the absence of reliance. To bet on yourself is to bet on certainty. It is not luck, not a gamble, but an inevitability. You are not at the mercy of chance, nor a player in someone else's game. You are the creator of your own rules, the master of your own fate. In a world where others seek to play, you stand apart as the one who dictates the outcome. The weak seek fortune in the hands of others, relying on promises and assurances that are as fragile as glass. The powerful carve their fortune with their own hands, trusting no one but themselves. To bet on yourself is to move beyond the need for salvation or guidance. It is to rise above the desperation of those still waiting for someone to rescue them. The best bet is the only bet. The bet that doesn't hinge on luck, on chance, or on anyone else's strength. Betting on yourself means knowing that when the stakes are at their highest, when the odds are against you, you won't falter. It's not just about rejecting weakness. It's about embracing self-reliance with every fiber of your being. Power doesn't come from numbers or alliances. It comes from within, from the one who knows their worth and places their trust in no one but themselves. To bet on yourself is to step beyond the limits others impose, to refuse to be weighed down by their failures. And when the dust settles, when the weak have fallen to their own fragility, the one who stood alone will remain unbroken, untouchable. Place your trust in no one but yourself. In the end, that's the only gamble worth taking. The world is a game of strength, and those who wager on others are playing with losing hands. The real power belongs to the one who has mastered the art of self-reliance. Those who bet on themselves are not playing the same game as the rest. Their game is one of absolute control, where victory is not just likely, it is inevitable. To rely on yourself is to eliminate the possibility of defeat, to remove failure as an option. The path forward is not left to chance. It is carved with precision, forged by your will. And whatever stands in your way will not endure. It will crumble beneath the force of your resolve. Self-reliance is the forge where the strength of intellectual independence is born. To think for yourself is not merely a choice. It is a rebellion, a rejection of the suffocating grip of conformity. It is the act of breaking free from the hollow murmur of the crowd, abandoning their shallow echoes to uncover the depths of your own mind. Every individual must cultivate this independence, shaping the ability to think without the contamination of outside influence. Leaning on the collective thoughts of the masses is a slow poison, eroding the sharpness of the mind. Dependency on the herd kills intellectual growth, reducing the mind to nothing more than a vessel for borrowed ideas. True clarity is found in solitude, where the mind is sharpened against the harsh stone of self-reflection. Observation becomes a weapon, wielded without bias, wielded without fear. To rely on the collective is to let your thoughts become nothing but reflections of another's voice. The self-reliant, however, train their minds to reject this hollow mimicry. They strip this hollow mimicry. They strip away the illusions, cutting through layers of deception to reveal the core truths buried beneath. Intellectual independence is the weapon of those who refuse to bow to conformity. It is the unrelenting force that tears apart the lies binding weaker minds. To think for yourself is not merely a skill. It is a declaration of freedom. It is the act of wielding an unclouded mind, a mind immune to the whims of popular opinion. Oh, each individual must become their own thinker, their own guide. To depend on another's wisdom is to surrender control of your own mind, to become a prisoner, shackled by the thoughts of others. But freedom of thought is not given, it must be seized. Intellectual independence is earned through discipline, through the relentless breaking of mental chains forged by society's expectations. The mind must be tempered, trained, to view the world not through the comfortable filter of delusion, but with the raw clarity of reality. Only the strongest minds, honed in solitude, can rise above the illusions that blind the masses. Observation is not passive. It is an act of control, an act of conquest. It is the process of seizing reality and shaping it into something meaningful. The weak look, but do not see, their minds dulled by the noise of the world around them. The self-reliant mind pierces through that noise. It observes with precision, focusing on what matters, dismantling distractions to uncover the truth beneath. The mind trained in isolation becomes a force of creation, reshaping reality to align with its vision. Analysis becomes its blade, slicing through falsehoods, exposing the unfiltered essence of existence. To analyze is not simply to think, it is to dismantle, to strip away every assumption, every pretense, leaving only what is real. The intellectually independent do not accept what they are given. They trust no belief, no idea, unless it has been tested in the fires of their own reasoning. The self-reliant thinker does not take the world at face value. They remake it, bending it to their understanding and their will. To depend on the thoughts of others is to betray your own potential, to surrender the essence of who you are. Only those who cultivate intellectual independence can escape this trap. The mind, like the body, must be disciplined. It must be forged through a relentless questioning and ruthless observation. To train the mind is to strip it of comfort, to condition it to thrive in the complexity where real understanding lies. Those who lean on others for their thoughts will forever remain prisoners of ignorance. But those who master self-reliance, those who train their minds to stand alone, become something far greater. They become the architects of understanding, the rulers of thought, wielding their intellect as a blade that cuts through the fog of illusion. They are creators, masters, and conquerors of their own reality. To think for yourself is not just a choice. It is the foundation of power. It is the force that shapes the future, the weapon that carves through the lies of the world. Intellectual independence is not merely survival. It is supremacy. Those who embrace it will never be bound by the weakness of others.